Okay, so thank you for coming. Equanimity. Equanimity at the Equinox. This is a workshop I do every year about this time, around the equinox in both March and in September. And I like to do it at that time because it's kind of like a time of balance in terms of what's happening to our planet. At the equinox, the planet, as you probably know, the equator is pointed directly at the sun, which means that the amount of daylight each end of the Earth is the same, and that's the only time of the year in March around about March 20th and around about September 20th that phenomenon actually happens. And that's that midpoint, that point of balance, I guess. And so, in some ways, it is probably not a bad time to practice equanimity. I know for myself, I tend to tune into the seasons. I take a walk every morning, 2 or 3 miles, three miles actually, 3.3, I think it is, my usual walk. And I notice through the seasons because I try to do 4 seasons. I don't I get kind of like a little gun shy when it gets below 20 degrees in winter, but most of the time I'm out there. And I know that there is some kind of attunement to the seasons. I notice in the spring I can feel, more energetic, and then summertime is a little slower, and then fall comes and you start to withdraw a little bit, and so there's changes that happen through the season. But I think with the equinox, it's kind of like if we really tune in, it can be a great time to practice equanimity and find our balance in life. It's also a good time to find it because in terms of the regular calendar, particularly with September, we're coming into the holiday season, starting with Halloween and then Thanksgiving and then so on and so on. So that's also a great time to take stock, I guess, take stock of our life and decide where we want to go. So equanimity, as you probably know, has been practiced for thousands of years. If you read the Buddhist lists, I think it appears in about 4 or 5 of them. So certainly in the dharma of the Buddha, equanimity is a very significant quality of being or way of being. So what does it really mean? Well, there's a famous Buddha quote, like a rock, I am not moved by praise, or like a rock is not moved by the wind, I am not moved by praise or blame. That's an interesting quote. If you think about it, not moved by praise or blame. So in other words, that's a sort of a reference to the kinds of things that tend to shake us from our groundedness. And if we're susceptible to praise or blame, if we get off on praise and we go down with blame, then we're basically at the whim of the external surroundings, the things that are out there impacting us. And of course we are, but according to the deeper practices and the teachings around those deeper practices, it is possible, by not being ego attached or ego involved, that we can let a lot of things go. We can let them pass and not be impacted by it, not take it personally, so to speak, which is pretty hard to do. But there are practices that help with that. And I like to come to the body for those practices because I think the body can really teach us where we can be with that more equanimous state, if you like, that place where we're not kind of rattled by things that are going on around us. So the plan for this afternoon or this evening or this morning, if you're in Japan, is that we will in a moment, I'll start to guide you in a practice. We'll try that first, I think, and then I'll give a presentation on equanimity, and then we'll have some discussion time. And particularly, what I'm interested in the discussion time as we go through the sequence and the talk that I'll give, you might begin to see areas of your life where equanimity could play a stronger role in your life. I know for me, There are some areas where it's not a problem at all. I can be quite equanimous in certain areas of my life, and in others, I can get rattled. And it depends on what our thing is, like what really what's unresolved, if you like, perhaps in our lives, is often the area where equanimity might be a little bit of an issue. I know for me, embracing existential crises is tricky. Like the whole idea of separation and not being connected, that can really rattle me. But on the other hand, there can be all kinds of chaos going on around me, and I don't seem to have an issue with that. It doesn't kind of rock my boat. So you might want to think about it for yourself. And as we go through the practice, you may notice different areas and different things. Now, the body's a great way to practice, and we're going to use it in a couple of ways. First of all, we're going to use the body just to bring ourselves in. The Phoenix Rising approach to yoga is basically we move and breathe to begin with, to basically come home a little bit to our body. Then we work with an edge, and then we drop in, and then we go to meditation, so that deeper inner state. So it's a progressive deepening. I like to talk about it as like walking from the shallow end to the deeper end of the swimming pool. And hopefully when we get to that state of inward focus, and there's a yogic term for the crossover in the 8 limbs of yoga. It's the 5th limb of yoga. It's called the pratyahara, where the focus goes from the external to the internal. And that's an important stage in setting up this inner state where we can actually experience a state of equanimity. The body's a great way to do it because for 2 reasons. The body's always in the present, and second of all, the body doesn't lie. And if we can tune into the body in the present, particularly, let's say we're in a room practicing yoga or meditation, and if we come home to the body in the present, it's going to say basically everything's okay here. Right? You're just sitting, meditating, or practicing yoga in your living room. What could be wrong? Nothing. So if there's any state of dis-ease or discomfort or whatever, it's because we're not present. We're either going into some kind of rumination or referencing past or possibly future phenomena. And it's that reference to past and future that kind of take us out of equanimity. But if we can come back to the present, it's pretty much, if we really check in, it's pretty much in equanimity, as long as the house isn't burning down, for example. That'd be a little bit different, right? Or there isn't an earthquake. Then okay, there's external circumstances that everything isn't okay. But if you're just simply sitting in your living room in a chair, everything is okay in that moment. So it's a state of equanimity. All right, so let's begin. We'll stand up to begin with. One of the things that I like to do these days, just a little different, but it's a great practice, is just to shake. So just start to stand where you're standing. Start to shake your body. And shake any which way, like just, shake your hands, and you can shake your legs out. You can bend your knees and shake on the spot. You can let your head get into the shake. And what about the jaws and the cheeks? Get it all going, just shaking. Shake, shake, shake. And your mind might be going 100 miles an hour. And if it is, that's okay. You don't have to worry about trying to tame it yet. You can just let your mind do whatever it wants. But as much as you can, get into the feeling of your body shaking, just the rhythm and the shaking. And don't censor it. There's no right or wrong to this. However you shake, that's how you shake. Just let it out, let it go. And you might want to do a little expressive stuff with the arms up or out to the sides. Shake the wrists and don't forget the legs and the feet, kick them out. A little twist around, anything at all. And I forgot to record, so I'm pressing it now. No, I don't. So then slow it down, slow it down, slow it down. And then just come to stillness, come to stillness. Feel your 2 feet on the floor, feel your whole body standing here. And this is just the first little awareness break. So just become aware of what's happening now. And whatever's here is okay. There's no good, there's no bad, there's no right, there's no wrong. So this is the first time we're trying that on. Can we stand here and just let everything be okay, just the way it is? You might feel a little twitch or a twinge here and there. And if you do, so what? Just let it be there. And notice your breath. Feel your breath come to your belly. Let it go. And just notice what's happening now. If you've got a little more here, just notice that. You feel a little more here. And notice where your mind does get drawn to go if it goes anywhere. Just notice that. You don't have to make it wrong or bad or pull it back and give it a smack. You don't have to do that. Just notice. Let it be okay. It's okay. All right. Then come back to eyes open. You can bring your hands in front. You can do a little breathing. So just inhale, draw the arms up above the head. And then exhale, lower them down. And just get a little rhythm going with that. Inhale up. Exhale down. We're deepening the breath going all the way down to the belly. You can imagine a point just a couple of inches below the navel. And that's where the breath goes as you inhale, as your arms go up. And then it just empties like a milk bottle as your hands go down. Inhale up. Exhale down. Now find your own rhythm with this. I won't be doing it with you for the next move on. You're going to find your own rhythm. You can lightly close your eyes if you like and tune into your body to find that rhythm. Find the pace that's just right. Find the amount of breath that's just right. And we're going to take a more equanimous breath. And a more equanimous breath is one where there's no effort involved. So you're reducing the effort of the breath. You're letting it be full and deep, but it's easy, easy breath. No effort needed. It's just there. So see if you can let the breath come to you as you do this. Let the breath come to you. What's the right length of breath? What's the right pace of breath? Just let it be how it needs to be. So you're tuning into your own equanimous state. Just letting it be. Letting it be. And notice how that feels. Notice if there's any temptation to want to do it differently, like it's not good enough or wouldn't it be better if? And if that's there, that's all right. That's just the chatter in the background. Pay attention to it, but don't get bored into it. And a couple more. And after the next one, you can just come back to stillness. Feel those feet on the floor. Feel the body long. Here. Here. Whole body here. Noticing. What's happening now? Another awareness check-in. And again, nothing to fix, nothing to change. No right, no wrong, no good, no bad. It's just what's here. As much as you can, just accepting what's here. This body, this moment, and this breath. Take that breath. Again, this body, this moment, this breath. What's happening now? Feeling. And then shrug the shoulders up to the ears and give them a squeeze. Feel the squeeze. Take a deep breath in and hold the squeeze. But hold the squeeze so it's not painful or causing you any grief. It's just a squeeze that you can hang out with. It's all right. You got it. And take a deep breath in and hold the breath now as you squeeze. Hold the breath and then let it all go. Let it all go. Just roll the shoulders any which way. And just feel the neck and shoulders there. Just feel it. Feel it. Then let the head come right down over the left side. Just left ear to left shoulder. Place the left hand up over the right ear. Just like so. If I'm mirroring the wrong way for you, don't worry about it. Just do it whichever way. And then just allow the weight of the arm to draw the neck open a little bit around here. Just a little bit. Not too much, not too little. Just a little bit of a stretch. Let this other hand be long and go down the side. Take a deep breath in. And as you exhale, just surrender to the stretch as you exhale. Just letting it find its own place. Not too much, not too little. Just the right amount of stretch. And see if you can find that place of not too much and not too little. Just right in there. Just right. Take another breath and let it be there. Just right. Not too much. Then let that hand that's over the top just float up to the, as the head comes back to center and the arm floats down. Close your eyes for a moment and just notice your left ear, your right ear, the left side of your neck, the right side of your neck. And again, no need to make a big deal about it. It's perfect just the way it is. Everything's okay. Nothing really needs fixing or changing. It's just a different awareness. So we simply have an awareness of something that has shifted a little, but it's okay. So let the other ear come down to the other shoulder because it's probably the same. Hey, what about me? And then just let the weight of the elbow and the arm open up the neck a little bit. Reach down with the fingers down the side there. Take a deep breath in. And as you exhale, just allow the stretch to happen. Just let it open slowly. Take another deep breath in and let it open. Now find that place of just right. Not too much, not too little. See if you can take the struggle out of it. No struggle, no effort. Easy, easy breath. Another deep breath in, exhale. Let the hand float up. Let the head float back to center. And close the eyes and just notice left side of neck, right side of neck. Take a deep breath, let it go. Feel the feet on the floor, feel the sensations coming up through the body, up through the legs, up through the torso, to the shoulders, to the head. And feel your full presence here right now, full presence. I am here. I am here. If you can take on that posture of I am here, also add to it, and everything's just as it needs to be here. Nothing to fix, nothing to change, just here. Feel that here. What's it like? Take another deep breath. Let it go. Now take two fists and take them around behind your back. Press it into the low back, just above the buttocks. Take a deep breath in and out. And then just lift the chin and press the pelvis slightly forward. So no pressure yet on anything, no pressure anywhere, just a very gentle uplifting of your chest, lowering your head back a little, pressing with your fists, pressing your pelvis forward. Just this is the beginning position. Now what you're going to do is let your body breathe you into the posture. So you're going to take a deep breath in and nothing on the in-breath. And then on the exhale, you're very gently going to let your body take a little more up and back. Just a little more up and back, but no ouches or crunches. Just an easeful up and back. And with the next 2 or 3 breaths, see if you can find your home here in this posture. A place where you can hang out. It's not too much, it's not too little. Feels pretty good because your chest is open, your throat is open, your belly's soft, your feet are planted on the floor, and you're finding that place in the back bend that's just right, where you can feel a little bit of something happening, but it's no big deal. You can hang out here, you can feel it and be with it. I am here, I am here. Take another deep breath in and out. And then slowly come back up. And as you come back up, release the arms and just come into a forward hang, just letting go. Bend the knees, let the arms go, let the head go, let everything go, and just let it hang loose. Nowhere to go, nothing to do, just hanging out. Deep breath in and out. And feel a letting go here. Feel like you can just give it all up. Nothing to fix, nowhere to go. Just letting it all go. All the weight of whatever you've been carrying is just falling off your shoulders. And you're just here to this moment, here. Feel that, take it in. Notice if your mind goes anywhere, and if it does, just gently bring it back. Bring it back to the body, bring it back to now. And then very slowly coming back up, slowly coming back up. When you come about halfway, begin an in-breath, take the arms up above your head, the top of the in-breath, and then exhale, lower it slowly down, letting go. Deep breath in and out. Feet flat on the floor. Feel the sensations through the body, from the legs to the torso, to the trunk, to the shoulders, head, arms hanging loosely to the sides. I am here. I am here. Feel that presence. Presence to this body, to this moment, here. I am here. One more standing, and then we'll go to the floor. Feet about hip width apart, arms out front. And imagine there's a chair behind you, and it's a high back chair, and it's got a little seat on it. And what we're going to do is just bend the knees and stick the edge of the buttocks on the seat of the chair at just the right height, where we're not efforting or straining or struggling. It's way before that. So there's no effort, struggle, or strain. It's just an easy, let's take the support of that chair behind us, bending our knees and keeping the arms out front. Let go of any tension that you might have around the shoulders and the arms. Just let that soften as well. Feel the softness in your body. And now take your focus onto your thighs, front of your thighs, upper part of the front of your thighs. Take a deep breath in and out and just settle into the chair a little bit more so that you begin to do a little bit of work with the thighs, but not too much. It's enough work that they can handle. It's not too much. So there's no struggle here. If you need to come out of it at any time or come up or adjust in any way, feel free to do so. But the idea is to find the place of equanimity, the place of no struggle, where, yeah, there's something happening, but you're okay with it. You can hang out with it. It's fine. Find that place. Breathe to it. Notice if there's any tendencies to want to make it harder or easier. And just find a place of balance with that. Not too hard, not too easy. Not too soft, not too hard. The breath is going to support you, so take the breath down to the belly. Deep, full breath. Let the breath do the work. Yeah, give it to the breath. And then very, very slowly come back up to standing. Inhale the arms up above the head. Come up on tippy toes if you can. And then exhale, lower the arms and lower the heels. Feel whole body here now. This body, this breath here. Notice what's happening now. Feelings, sensations, images. Notice how easy it is or not to be here now, in this present moment, in this body. Maybe even saying, I am here. I am here. And then if you have a mat, you can come down on the floor on your mat face down. If you don't have a mat, well, just lie on whatever's there. Just let yourself melt into the floor for now. The floor's underneath you and it's receiving your weight. Can you give it to it? Just let it go. Let the floor do the work. So any area of your body that's holding on, just make a conscious effort to say, okay, I can let it go and give it to the floor. Trusting that the floor's got you. It's got you. Bring the hands under the shoulders, flat on the floor, palms facing downwards. Elbows also can be on the floor so that you're basically making a platform with your forearm. Your hands might be a little further forward than your shoulders, coming through the front. It's a little further forward than your shoulders, probably up near your head a little bit, but separated. You got that platform with your forearms, platform on either side. Become aware of your buttocks and your pelvis and just tuck the pelvis towards the floor a little bit more. Squeeze the buttocks slightly, just a very slight squeeze. Legs long, feet apart, about hip width apart. Feel the energy in your whole body, all the way through to the chest and the belly on the floor and the tuck of the pelvis, the head on the floor in the center, and breathing easily, breathing easily. Then just lift the head an inch or two from the floor so that if your eyes were open, and they can be, or they can be closed, you'd be looking straight forward. Take a deep breath in and out, and lift the head a little more. No weight in the hands or arms yet. And now begin to transfer a little of the effort into the arms, the forearms, letting them support you as you lift a little bit of the chest off the floor, just a little bit, and take a full deep breath. And this is the posture of emergence, where you arise to meet whatever's here. And so very slowly, just continuing to rise a little higher, opening up the chest. Let the chest be the focus as it's pressed forward and open. Take a deep breath into the belly. Feel the chest. Feel the length along the spine through the front of the body. And then slowly let yourself find the place that's just right for you in this posture. Now, it may be with the forearms still on the floor, or you may wish to slide the hands back a little and just use the hands as your support. That's up to you. But find the best way to support the posture as you arise to the place that's just right. Not too much, not too little. You can hang out here for a bit, and you can celebrate being present to all that's here. I am here, I am here. I arise to meet all that's here. And in this state of being okay with whatever's here, feeling in my body, I am safe, I am fully present, I am open, and I am here. Take that in. Notice that. Here, engaged, open, and present. Everything's fine, just the way it is. Take another breath and very slowly begin to lower back down to the floor, letting go, letting go, letting go. Take a breath in and out. Let the body take your weight. Turn the head to one side. Let the arms find a home that's just right. And just simply let go. Then roll over onto your back. Hug your knees into your chest. And feel the softness of the embrace. And as you embrace yourself, let it be a sense of presence, a sense of nurturing, a sense of validation of this body, this being, this life. Here, just the way it is. Home here, in this body, in this moment. And bring your feet flat on the floor near your buttocks. Raise and lower your pelvis a few times, just lifting it off the floor, lowering it down, lifting and lowering. And then on the next breath, just lift it up to a place where you can support it there. And you can use your hands or elbows or arms or whatever you like to put them under your buttocks to press your pelvis up as high as it'll go. And press your feet into the floor. And let that front side of your body be elevated as you breathe and feel and hold. But no struggle. Find a soft way to engage. Full engagement with softness and breath and presence. I am here, open, feeling the openness along the whole front side of the body and letting it be, letting it be. Tuning in. And now, as you release, you're tuning in even more, slowly letting go and feeling it all the way down. feeling the letting go as the buttocks come back to the floor, tuning into the energy, the subtle energy in the body. And now you're going to let the body move you. So I'm not guiding you. You're not guiding you. Your body's guiding you. The wisdom, the energy in your body takes you wherever it wants into the next posture, whatever it is. Just let your body take you there. Any movements can be yoga or not yoga, doesn't matter. Any which way can be static, dynamic, moving, still, doesn't matter. Just let your body guide you, tuning into the wisdom, the prana, the energy, the life force of your body, and just letting it guide whatever movement is there. But stay conscious and aware as it does. Know what it's giving you. Know what it's bringing home to you. And receive it. Receive it. Breathe and feel and let it be. Let it be. And once again, find yourself lying flat on your back, legs extended, arms to the side, whole body breathing, aware of breathing in, aware of breathing out, breathing in through the whole front side of the body, breathing out through the back. Breathing in, I receive. Breathing out, I release. Whatever you're taking in, whatever you're letting go of, bringing you a little more home to now, to this place of safety, of refuge, here in this body. And as you breathe now, you get a sense of that place of refuge. Here in this body, I am safe and I am free. Nowhere to go, nothing to do, no one to be, just here, connected. And draw the knees up to the chest one more time. Wrap your arms around, give a squeeze, give yourself a little love. Thank you, body, for bringing me home. Thank you, body, for being here all my life. Thank you, body, for being my place of refuge. And then find a way to mindfully transition to a seated position, supporting your buttocks if you need to with something underneath you, supporting your back if you need to, a cushion or a wall or a sofa or whatever you need. Adopt a seated meditation posture. And as you sit, just notice your body to begin with. If there's anything happening there, anything that draws your attention, just let your attention go there, but not be consumed by it. Just say hello to whatever calls for attention. Might be a soft place, might be a hard place, might be a tight place or a loose place, doesn't matter. No need to judge it. Just whatever calls for attention, give it some attention and then let it go. So that you just come back the whole body, whole body. Let go of any need to sit any particular type way. Let it be, I am here, a posture of presence, but also a posture of ease, softly present. So your body takes on the quality of soft presence, here but not strained, fully here, alert, awake, but not strained, softly present. And from this place of soft presence, just simply notice. Notice what arises and what passes. Whatever arises, let it be, let it go. No need to hang on to anything. No need to push anything away. Just allow whatever's here to come and to go. The passing of all phenomena. Arising and passing. And if there's any particular thought or feeling that might arise to take away your equanimity, just simply notice it and let it be. No need to fix it, no need to change it, just simply notice. If there's any particular thing that arises or passes to enhance your equanimity, just notice that too. But let it be, no need to hang on. And your state of equanimity is your capacity to just be present here to this body, this breath, and let it be just fine, just the way it is. Nothing to fix. Regardless of what's going on around you and outside of you and in the world beyond your walls, you can sit in this place of balance. Knowing that you have within you the strength, the courage, the resilience to be present to whatever comes and to embrace this place of equanimity. I am here. I am here. Bring the left hand up to the center of your chest. Take a moment just to connect into your body through your hand. And let your embodied state perhaps speak to your hand. And just tell you what it's got here for you. What is it that this body has right now in the way of a gift, in the way of an insight or awareness of value that's here right now? And just receive that, whatever it is. No need to get carried away with it or do anything extra with it. Just simply notice, what's the gift right now? What's here? Take a breath, let it go. Let the hand come slowly down. Take a moment to reflect a moment. Just reflect on your state of being and how it might in some way have application to your life. What could you do with the awareness you received, with the state of being that you've created here? How could this help you? in your life going forward from here. Just simply consider that for a moment without getting too heady about it. It is a little bit of a shift from visceral experience to cognitive experience, but that's okay. It's okay to think too. So just think about what's the possibility here for how I might engage my life going forward from here. Just notice that. Receive that gift too. Take a breath, let it go. When you're ready, you can open your eyes. And rejoin the group here, just looking at the other screens and the other yogis here. And to debrief this, it might be better rather than talking in dyads. I think I'll ask you just if you feel inclined to just jot a few words into the chat around your experience, where this practice maybe took you, left you, gave you, whatever you want to say about the practice, whatever you want to say about where you are now. And maybe the last question that I gave you, how might this have a role to play in your life? Anything at all. Any random thoughts, random feelings, whatever. Just jot them down. And I'll have a look at the chat and maybe speak to one or two of them. Okay, so slow, we've got from Melissa. Thank you, Melissa. Slow down, connect to breath over and over again throughout the day. What a great idea. Yeah, the breath's a very good way to connect to equanimity. It's a great way to practice. If you can just pause and take that deep breath. And don't make it an effortful breath. I love the idea, and you can tell me, I guess, if that worked for you. It's the whole idea of presence without effort. So a state of equanimity is a state of being really here, but it's also an easy state of being here. It's not a state of struggle or effort. So Matt, I feel very similar to when I've done more strenuous yoga. It's interesting how a few simple postures bring me back in your body. Yeah, it does. Yeah, yoga doesn't have to be tough and hard. Tough and hard's good too, mind you. It's got its place, absolutely. Um, but it can be once you're familiar with the territory, once you know you can come home to your body, however you practice. A few simple postures, a few simple breaths can bring you back home pretty quickly. Yeah. I was struck by the beauty outside my window and tend to connect to nature. Yeah, that's interesting. Okay, so I think it's a combination of the two. When you're practicing, when you're in your body and you're in nature. I know that certainly works for me. I go for my walks in the morning, and I'm in my body and I'm in nature, and nature just seems to take on a whole new dimension. There's stuff I wouldn't see normally if I wasn't really connected to my body. Um, Cultivating mutual respect with others, respecting what I'm experiencing as it is. That's great. Yeah. So your experience is your experience. You're experiencing through one set of filters. Everyone else has got their own. And so what you're experiencing isn't necessarily what they are. So what can you do about that? You can tune into your own and honor that. Yeah. My head felt unattached to my body in the beginning, like a balloon tethered but moving around. I now feel that while I have no control over life matters or situations, but I can control my breath and watch my mind come back to center, peace. That's beautiful. And that's really what it's about. Yeah, it's about noticing how your mind takes you away from it and choosing to do something that brings your mind or brings you back to yourself in the present where everything's okay, and your mind doesn't have to jump all over the place with it. Um, it's really amazing how when we come to that real focused, present-centered awareness, it's a very safe place and it's a very comfortable place. Sometimes people have difficulty initially handling it. You know, it's almost like a little scary to go there. If you've never been there before, it can be a little scary. And I'll put this one out just for those of you who are yoga therapists and you work with other people. Sometimes people will have a resistance to going to that place of soft presence in the moment. So you got to be gentle with folks around that and guide it pretty slowly. You'll notice that this approach that I did, we started out not even trying to focus our mind, or not even trying to be present to our body. In the initial shaking, remember when we started shaking? It was just do your thing, you know, have fun, play with it. You don't have to get in your head with it. You don't have to concentrate. You don't have to focus. Just have fun. Just do it. And then gradually, we became more and more focused, right? Just like this big funnel, just coming slowly down. Yeah. And if you can do that for yourself, first of all, and you got to be compassionate with yourself too, because you know you've been out there in the world doing battle with whatever, and you want to just find some peace, and you want to find a calmness around all the crazy stuff that's happening around you. Just yeah. So before you watch CNN tonight, try a little practice. Just kidding. um, So yeah, it can be great. It can be great for that too. There's a lot of things calling for our attention right now. A lot of things that are not necessarily nice to be present to. So how can we be present to all of that? It's not going to go away. We've got to change ourselves. We can't change what's out there. We can change ourselves. We can change how we be. We can change the lens of reference. And a balance between listening and speaking. From Robin. Okay, so yeah, how much do I speak and how much do I listen? Great question. Yeah. How do I find that balance? How do I take in from what's around me, but also have an opportunity to give to what's around me and do that in a balanced way? Is that what you meant, Robin? So am I on the right track there? You can come off mute if you want.
Okay. Yeah, it's just some of the things that have been happening in my life. It's like, am I really listening to you? And are you really listening to me or hearing me? So it's more about me. Am I listening? And then am I speaking my truth?
Right.
So that's kind of,
Yeah.
you know, I need to balance those two things. So that's kind of what it was.
Beautiful. That's a great awareness. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And when you're in your truth, you're in equanimity, I would guess.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Great. All right. Well, I have a little bit of a presentation, so we'll do that, and then we'll have Q&A and anything else that you want to do, and then we'll talk about how do you take this home. So just bear with me while I share my screen. Equanimity at the equinox. So, what is equanimity for starters? Well, it's the capacity to deal with anxiety producing events that are enhanced by a state of being and reflected by certain core beliefs and values in life. That's a lot in that sentence. Okay, so we have a state of being that is often reflected by core beliefs and values. And we can be aware of that or not. And that, if it's not open to change, can be anxiety producing. So a lot of people who have difficulty adjusting to change circumstances. And one of those circumstances is the process of aging. As we get older, we can't do what we used to do. And if our whole being is run by a belief that we should be able to keep doing everything just the way we did, then that belief and those life values are not going to work out for us. There needs to be a shift, an accommodation. So how do we do that? So this state of being is similar to what might be experienced as clear seeing, wise view, wise action, and a state of contentment in the present moment. Content with what is in the present, having a wise view of things, taking wise action, and seeing clearly. Now, we can't take wise action and we can't have a wise view and take wise action if we can't see clearly. So it really comes down to seeing clearly. And in order to see clearly, we basically have to come home to ourselves. As Robin said, this whole idea of balancing between being in your truth and sharing it. You can only do that when you've got that sense of, I'm really here on the inside. So it's very similar to liberation or an awakened state. That's inherent in traditional yogic Buddhist psychology, philosophy, and practice. As I said, equanimity is, it appears in a lot of the Buddha's lists. Okay. So what helps cultivate equanimity? Well, we got to tune in. And if you go back to that practice, we spent some time getting to the tuned in part. In fact, most of the practice was about tuning in. And I was only kind of right at the end where we looked for clarity and looked for discernment, looked for truth, and then decided what action to take. So attunement is really the key to getting clarity. We really have to tune in. And in order to tune in, basically through the practice that we led, the body has a big part to play in helping with that. And you can think about that for yourself. Did you notice a progression through the practice where your body kind of started to drop in more and there was less need to be referencing outside of the present moment? And then from that place, you get very clear, like, yeah, this is how it is. This is what's happening. And even the stuff that's going on outside in your external world, you can see it more clearly. You can't see it clearly when you're caught up in it. So that attunement and discernment, what is wise? What is the wise thing to do here? We can make that decision and that choice much more easily from an equanimous place than we can if we're being tugged in one direction or another. If we're in reaction to something that's happening, it's very difficult to practice discernment. And it's very difficult to get to the truth of the matter. And it's very difficult to take wise action. If we're taking reactive action, that probably isn't wise. It's probably just going to prolong the battle. So there's a whole lot of really important elements that go for the ride when we're in reaction and we're not in a place of equanimity. So it's a great place to live from. What gets in the way? Well, we have awareness filters that get in the way. We filter our awareness based on our preferences. Like, have you ever heard yourself say, oh, I don't do that? All right, that's an awareness filter. I never eat broccoli. I don't eat broccoli. All right, well, okay. Not ever, never. Did I tempt you with a little bit? No, I don't eat broccoli. You got an awareness filter. Never try it. That's only one example, simple examples. Invalid assumptions. We make assumptions about things that are not valid. We make assumptions that being in the dark is not good. I don't like to be in the dark. All right, well, maybe so, but maybe not. To say it's not good, well, what's that all about? Let's put that assumption to the test, maybe. Beliefs of not enough. I'm not enough. I'm not good enough. I'm not strong enough. There isn't enough. The whole not enough beliefs are a great way to filter awareness and get in the way. Not paying attention. We can't be really present. So this practice, again, had us come to a place where we could be really present. Lack of self-care. So do we really take care of ourselves? Do we nurture ourselves? And part of this practice was self-nurturing, being with your body, caring for your body, loving your body. And that's a great way to practice self-love is through the body. We start there. Lack of self-worth. I'm not, again, that whole I'm not good enough, I'm not whatever. A sense of not belonging. I don't fit here. Then that's going to get in the way of equanimity. And so we have to let go of that. How do we let go of that? Again, we didn't focus on that too much in the practice, but when you get in there and you get really connected to yourself, it doesn't really matter if you belong or don't belong. You're getting very comfortable just being with yourself. So what does it matter? You know, the belonging, not belonging is kind of a conceptual thing. And there's a belief that I should belong, but maybe it's okay not to. Maybe it's okay to be the way I am. Desire can get in the way, and attachment can get in the way, and of course the good old greed. We want this, we want that this way. Those three there, desire, attachment, and greed, pretty common ways of being in life that take us out of a state of equanimity. So we have a lens of perception, how we see things. It's a bit like the lens in a camera. And the quality and usefulness of our awareness depends on how much or little we filter what is actually happening at the moment. Okay. So we're filtering all the time. We're looking at things and putting it through a filter. And that's our lens of perception. We all do it, and it's going on pretty much the whole time. Not a bad thing. And sometimes it's might be fairly accurate. Sometimes maybe not. What's a good way to bolster that lens of perception so it's seeing a little more clearly? What's a great way to clean the lens? Practice. Practices like the one that we did, where we can drop in, where we can be present to ourselves, we can be present to our body, we can be really here. The more we're here, really here, the less the filters are going to be able to make a difference to how we see things. The more we can be fully present. And we have to work at that. It doesn't come necessarily easy. So there's a simple daily program that I'll offer you for cultivating clarity and focus. The move and breathe is important. And then that's 5 to 10 minutes. And then stretch and drop in. So the stretch is important. The stretch is where, you might remember, I invited you into a stretch where I asked you to find that place of not too much, not too little. So there was a stretch happening. You had a little bit of an edge there, but it wasn't an edge that took you out of the game. And that's a really strengthening way to build a resilience. If we can practice with our body in being just that little bit uncomfortable, not too much, just a little bit, where we might, on another day, we might say, oh, to hell with this, I'm getting out of here. We get impatient with ourselves. Can we hang out in that zone of tolerance that's just on the edge? We can tolerate, but it's not too much. It's not going to blow us out of the water, but it's also, there's something happening. That's a beautiful thing to practice. So I would I generally practice at least 1 or 2 postures every day where I go to an edge and I hang out with that edge for maybe even 5 minutes and breathe and feel and let it go through my edges go through this kind of progression, of like at first it's like, oh damn, I don't want to be here, yada yada. And then okay, so I'll soften it a little bit. Okay, it's all right. I'll come back. I'll find the edge again. Okay, I'm here, but now I'm impatient. I just want this to be over with. Notice that, breathe, stay here, feel it a little bit more, and then eventually start to go into it. So it's the concentration comes in and I go into the edge. And that's where you can get to pratyahara. You can actually go through to the other side if you focus your concentration well enough. You can breathe and just be there. And eventually that edge will just dissipate and you'll drop into this other, it's like almost like dropping into an empty room. And that's basically the dropped in phase. But that can also happen in the relaxation part. So after you've done like 1 or 2 edge postures and you're just lying on your back and you're breathing in, breathing out, you can drop in at that place too, where you just really feel like there's nothing to hold on to anymore. There's nothing that needs to be propped up. You can just let it all go. And when you can find that state of being, you're really practicing equanimity. Right? So it's pretty simple. 5 to 10 minutes, or 5 to 15 minutes, 10 to 15 minutes rather, will do it. But then you can add the breath meditation. That's great. And then if you want, you can ask, what's here for me? What have I got from this state of equanimity today when you're practicing it? What's here? What have I got? Yeah. And then lastly, what's one small act that I might be able to do daily to strengthen and support this? How can I bolster my equanimity by something that I might engage or do? And it's usually one small thing. What might it be? Just watching the television without getting caught up in it all. That's one. I mean, that's a simple one, but it's you can try it. Let me just watch the news without notice my feelings and reactions and not reacting, just being with it. Okay, so that's the news. There it is. Yeah, not easy to do. There's also, this time of year, alignment rituals and practices that we can do. Feel the weather. This is pretty important for attunement. So don't just stay inside because the weather's not nice outside. Feel it. Go out in it. Embrace it. Go out and embrace the winter's day. Go out and embrace the windy day. Even the rain. Now, sometimes in the morning, I'll walk in the rain. Don't care if I get soaked. It's just like I'll embrace the rain. Go out in it. Feel it. Let it be there. Notice small changes, like what's the difference in the songs of the birds? How are the plants changing? How's the air changing? The feel of the air, the coolness, the warmness, the smell of the air, all changes seasonally. We can notice those small changes. And that's a way of attuning. That's attunement, right? Feeling the weather and noticing those changes is attunement. I know up on the place where I go to in northern Maine, there are loons on the lake. And I know that the loons actually now, since I've been going there for about 20 years, and noticing, the loons actually change their songs as the seasons progress. In the spring, they make certain sounds. Then not long after spring, they make different sounds. And then midsummer, they make different sounds again. And round about this time of year, it's different again. And you can actually notice that if you pay attention. Beautiful thing. And then engage seasonally appropriate rituals and events. What's a seasonally appropriate ritual? Well, when it gets cold enough at the end of probably the end of October or something like that in where I live, don't know what it's like where you live, might be time to have a fire, to go outside, and if it's allowed and not going to create a forest fire or something, have a fire. And there's fire rituals you can do. You can look them up on the web, and they're great things to be out in nature and feel the warmth of the heat and be around the fire. Our ancestors used to do this quite a lot, and really embrace standing around a fire as a way of performing various rituals. One that I like is if there's something you're trying to let go of in your life, write it on a piece of paper and go out and light a fire and stand around the fire. Don't give it some time, meditate, do some movement, breathing, and then take whatever you've got on your piece of paper and put it in the fire. Let it go. It's a great ritual. And then there's connecting to the season. Sunrise, sunset, and the temperature are the three things that I like to focus on. Do you know when the sun rises each day? Have you been paying attention? Do you notice that the sunrise is getting a little later every day right now if you live in the Northern Hemisphere? You notice the sunset's getting a little earlier now. The amount of daylight is less, getting dark earlier. You're noticing that. Did you notice the full moon last night or the night before? What's the temperature like during the day? Notice how quickly it cools down. Like right now where I am, it was 80 degrees at 3 o'clock this afternoon. It's now down in the high 60s. It cools off very quickly at this time. So just noticing that, feeling it, paying attention to it. That's another way of aligning your body and aligning your being to the world around you. And that way you'll be more able to tune in to whatever's happening to you from a place of equanimity. So awareness is like the sun. When it shines on things, they are transformed. And that's so true. If we can come with pure awareness. So again, what is pure awareness? It's without the filters, where we're seeing things pretty much as they are, just as they are, without the stories. Stories are a great filter for awareness. We have a story about everything, and we can't look at something without making up a story about it or having a story about it. And they're all filters. But if we can look at something purely just as it is, like you can look at that picture and you might immediately focus on the tree. But if you just soften your eyes a little bit and take in the whole picture, you'll see more than the tree. And you may even see some really interesting things if you take it in, right? That's a different kind of awareness. When I was a teacher in the outback in Australia, I had quite a few children in the school where I taught, or Aboriginal children. I got to know some of their parents and uncles and whatever. And there was this one guy who was a tracker. He could actually track things in the bush. He could find, wanted to find a kangaroo, he could help you find one, know how to do it. Or if someone was lost, he could help find them. And so I got to know him pretty well, and I got curious about how he could do this because he was really good. And he said one thing to me one day, which really blew me away. He said, you white fellas, you look for something and see nothing. You look and see nothing. He says, I look for nothing and see everything. And that just threw me for a loop. He looks for nothing and sees everything. So when he's taking in something like the picture that you got there, he's not looking at any particular thing or looking for any particular thing. He's just taking the whole thing in. And when he can do that really well, if it was actually out in nature, you'd see things that you didn't see otherwise. All right, I got one more slide, I think, for you. That particular lady is, I think I got to go back one. Oh, yeah. That's Nicole Stott. She's an astronaut. And I was lucky enough to get to hang out with her for a few years ago. And she told me a lot of things about what it was like to live for 107 days on the International Space Station in terms of awareness. We had this great conversation about awareness. And when you're on the International Space Station, you look down at the Earth and you're seeing it in a different progression than you see it from here. she said, you know, at first it was about looking for the place where she called home, which at that time was Florida. She'd be looking for Florida every time they made an orbit. And I think they made about 9 a day. And then the other people in the spacecraft, you know, some were Russian, some were Belgian, some were whatever. They'd be looking for their place when they passed by it. She said, but after a couple of weeks, we all stopped looking for our place and we just looked at the Earth, and it was ours. We all belonged on that Earth, which is different than I belong here, you belong there. It became a we thing, and that blew me away too. It was a really great thing to. And she said, the more people go out into space, the more they see the oneness in everything. So there we go. That's equanimity, the practice of equanimity. Any questions or comments about any of that? Well, maybe I can ask you, where do you think your opportunities lie in practicing equanimity? You can either come off mute and talk, or you can write in the chat. Just be aware that if you come off mute and talk, you will be on the recording. If you don't come off mute, you'll just be a box. Anyone want to brave it? Talk about equanimity as it applies to you from what we've done and what we've said so far, or any questions?
I'll speak.
Go for it, Laura.
I'm dealing with a mom who is in the early stages of dementia, and I just learned this week that a very dear friend is in the throes of his addiction, and I've been very, very reactive, which has caused immense back pain and insomnia and just a lot of emotion. And it's because I'm not taking care of myself. I'm being reactive to the situation, and
Yeah. You know the most important thing for a caregiver? Self-care. Yeah. If you're a caregiver, you really need to take care of yourself. If you're trying to take care of someone else, you've really got to take care of yourself. Got to go the extra mile for yourself. And a lot of us don't know how to do that. It's like, how do I take care of myself? Well, it can be as simple as preparing yourself for your day, like taking an hour in the morning to just do your own practice, do your own thing, do your own stuff. Get yourself ready for the day. Make your bed, you know, rather than, oh, I got to be here, so leave it all, you know. Leave a trail of chaos behind you that you have to come home to later in the day. That's the way a lot of us do caregiving. Caregiving needs to be the other way. Take care of yourself first. The whole thing, you know, put your own oxygen mask on before you try to put it on someone else. Very important.
And I'm a caregiver too, for my husband, and I have a daughter with developmental disabilities, and I know that I think we tell ourselves that we're good because we're taking care. I mean, we tell ourselves these, you know, that makes me a better person. That's who I am. And yet, if it's hard to step away, but if you can step away, there are others who help and who fill in. It doesn't have to be all us caregivers.
Right.
But it's hard to say self-care is
yeah.
important. It's hard to do that. It's because it's like a change of perception as well as trusting.
That's one of the filters we were talking about. You see, the filter is I have to be there all the time, or I'm not doing it right.
Right.
And the change is I really need to strengthen myself so I can be better at being here when I'm here. I can give more. I can be more effective, right? I can be in a more equanimous state. Now, if you were someone who was on the receiving end of the care, what would you rather? Would you rather have a cranky caregiver or a caregiver who was in this like equanimous state? Hell yeah. Give me that, give me that anytime, you know. I don't want someone who's taking care of me feeling stressed about being the caregiver. That's gonna make me feel bad. You know? So really important, yeah. Really important. That's a great area for equanimity, actually. So a lot of caregivers have a hard time with it. Yeah. Thanks for bringing that up. No, a lot of times we see it as selfish or greedy or I'm taking care of me, and you know, you got to take care of you. You can't be there for anyone else. Anyone else?
Hey, Michael.
Yeah.
Just kind of build on that a little bit. One thing that I've noticed in my recent life is that self-care, and you alluded to this as well, is can be its own like discipline. It takes discipline, like to make it part of your regular day.
Yes.
If it's just a sitting meditation, or if it's doing some yoga, or you mentioned like making your bed, or just um, all of those things require like some discipline, at least for me. And
They require
sometimes
choices that are not always easy to make. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. I know the making your bed thing. That's really interesting. I got turned on to that about 10 years ago. And I can't remember, it's in some management book or personal growth book. I can't remember who it was, but someone said it's the most important ritual to start the day with. They were really into it. And the reason is that it's a statement. It's a statement that you're taking care of something and that you're taking time to prioritize something that you could easily let go. It's not going to make the end of the world if you come home and you've got a bed that's not made, but it makes a statement about you prioritizing what can make a difference later on, like setting your priorities and actually engaging an act where you're doing something that's pretty simple. It usually takes 3-4 minutes to make a bed, at the most. Some of us do it quicker than that. But it's like it sets the scene for the rest of the day. So it's an interesting thing, and I started it, and I still do it. I still do it today. It's like get up, make the bed before I do anything else. And yeah, that does have an impact. Anything else? All right. So where to from here? How do you take this home? First of all, I think the first question is, ask yourself honestly, am I in a state of equanimity most of the time, or hardly at all, or not ever, or whatever? And you can run a little bit of a bead on you. Look through your day. How does your day start off? How does it end? What happens during your day? Are you in a place where you can respond from this equanimous place? Or are you getting pushed, pulled here, there, and everywhere? Just know that. That's just an overall awareness. And don't get to stick out and beat yourself up if you find maybe I'm not as equanimous as I want to be. That's a great place to start. All right. And then say, okay, let me just take on some small things that I can do that will enhance this. And you probably know from the practice today what worked for you, what really helped. And it doesn't have to be a half-hour practice like we did today. It can be, like I said in the slide there, it can be 5 or 10 minutes. It doesn't take that much. And you can also practice it when you notice you're out of equanimity, when you notice you're getting frayed, when you notice you're making decisions from left field, and you're not really taking in what's going on around you. So take a time out. Maybe take 5 minutes and just go do some breathing, and just feel that connection through body and breath to now. They're the key elements: body, breath, now. And bring it home to now. When you're in the state of now, you're probably going to be able to very easily embrace that equanimous state. But you can't do it when you're thinking about something that's going to happen soon, or when you're lamenting about something that didn't happen yesterday. You can't be in equanimity when you're going there. You're going to be pulled and pushed. So the body and breath and now are really keys. And you can do that anywhere, anytime. You can take just a one or two breaths and come home to your body, come home to now. And then just look at the situation again and say, is this really worth the struggle that I'm experiencing here, right? Or is there another way to be with this? And what might that be? And the other thing is, there's a whole thing with serenity. I'm a big fan of the serenity prayer, which I'm sure some of you might be familiar with. God, give me the strength to change the things I can, and the wisdom to accept. Give me the courage to change the things I can, the strength to accept the things I can't, and the wisdom to know the difference. So where there is something that can be changed, and the courage to change it, okay, we can fix this. But where it can't be changed, the strength to accept it. This is how it is for now. And I'm powerless to change it. So how do I choose to be with it then? If I can't change it, how do I be with it? I can be in reaction, or I can come to that equanimous place and let it be. Work around it. And the wisdom to know the difference, of course. So there we have it. That's equanimity. Any final questions, thoughts, comments, sharings? Nothing? Okay. Well, I leave all this for your consideration. I hope that you find some equanimity in some way from what we shared and talked about. If you want to leave feedback in the chat, I'd appreciate that. Anything that may have worked for you or not worked for you, I'd love to hear about it. And I'll stop the recording now, but if you want to hang out and chat for a bit, I'm okay with that too. So I'm just going to turn off the recording.